Here's a question. Cam Newton said this Patriots team is fool's gold. Is there any possibility he's right? See how I phrase this? Is there any possibility he's right?
Yeah, I don't think he is. No,
okay, is there any possibility? Is there any possibility? No possibility. No possibility.
I don't think there's any possibility that the team's not at least good.
You have been gotten to. There's no possibility this is fool's gold, Mazz?
I have my hand up. I'm waiting to be called upon.
It's you.
Yes, there's a possibility.
All right, now that we've moved past that. So, and you guys kind of came at me a little bit earlier in the season, or at the very beginning. You guys will tell you, I wasn't necessarily a believer, right?
This is true, yep.
You know, I didn't love a lot of the stuff that I saw during the summer at camp. I certainly didn't love much of what I saw during the preseason. And then they opened with an absolute stink bomb against a terrible Raiders team. So it took me a few months to get here. You asking me, is it fool's gold? Like, are they good? Are they a playoff-worthy team? And in the 2025 NFL season, is this not one of the best? Are they not one of the best 7 teams in the AFC? No, I don't think it's possible that they're not one of the best 7 teams in the conference. It's taken me a while to get there, but I'm here.
Okay, I think the question is, are they a Super Bowl contender? You know,
that might be strong, Super Bowl contender. But again, I'm going to look around the league and ask you, which team can they not compete with?
So I don't think it is strong at all. I think they're, as I told you 2 weeks ago, it's, you know, will they be a Super Bowl? They are a Super Bowl contender. When you have a number 1 seed heading into Thanksgiving, you're a Super Bowl contender just by the very nature of the structure of the league. The yeah, but is the thing that is definitely being held against them the most by far is the schedule, even more than the roster, I think, which is, I think, a mistake. As you used to tell me, Paul, and it turns out you're right.
Wow, if I could just bottle that one up, Jimmy.
I'm going to give it to you. I'm fair like this. When it turns out you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Win some, lose some. You used to tell me about the schedule. We used to be very big into the Patriots. You know, not being battle. Yeah, the road and not being battle tested and never getting any stiff competition. And then they get into the playoffs and they face a big, tough physical team like, say, Baltimore or Denver some of those years. And they weren't hardened for it. And that's, you know, the schedule worked against them some of those years. Well, after looking at the research, it really, you're benefited more by having an easy schedule than you are a hard one. Because easy schedules, if you're good, lead to home playoff games and buys and all those things. And you'd rather be that team with a soft schedule than be on the road in the playoffs with a hard schedule, right? Simple as that.
Yeah. Now, would I rather be at home having beaten a lot of good teams? Sure. You know, but yeah, if
it's hard to do.
If the trade-off of the easy schedule is to ensure home games and buys and whatnot, yes, sign me up.
So, but I still think the number 1 thing held against them is the schedule.
I would agree.
And I would start with the roster. You know, I'd handicap rosters before schedules, but either way, it's all to lead to this. DVOA, you're familiar with this stat. Catch all.
Yeah.
Oh, he's rolling his eyes.
You don't like it? You're going to have to for this segment, but give me your problem.
I don't dislike it at all. This is not. Speak. Answer for it. No, it's. I think there's a place for all of these numbers. I just think sometimes we lean on them too much. You know, this is a good team because DVOA says so. This is a bad team because DVOA says. Sometimes you just need to watch the games and determine what you think is.
I'm with you. I've watched the Patriots obviously every snap, every game. I think they're a good team. DVOA, though, would tell you that they're overrated, and it's largely because of the schedule. And when you rank it historically, Greg Bedard sent us this last night. DVOA, they ranked, meaning DVO. Is it Pro Football Focus?
It's Pro Football Outsiders.
Yeah,
it's
Football Outsiders.
Aaron
Schatz,
who's very good. He's we see him in the press box every week now, and
he's a Pats fan.
I was going to say what kills him, and he has it. He actually has this as a disclaimer. This is killing me. I'm a Patriots fan.
He's a Patriots fan.
But the numbers are the numbers.
So, according to his advanced stat, DVOA, which factors in heavily strength of schedule, the Patriots are the second worst 9-2 team since they started tracking this, or maybe in NFL history, because there's a team from 1983 on here. So they're the second worst team ever, second worst 9-2 team ever by DVOA. And what Greg sent was they looked at the 12 worst 9-2 teams by DVOA, and what happened to them? Why are you smirking?
Because this is right up my alley. I love poking holes in good teams. This is what I live for.
So, folks, are you following along? The worst 9-2 teams in NFL history, according to DVOA. You are the second worst. The worst was the 2022 Minnesota Vikings. If you want the actual raw number, it's not going to. There's no context to it, but the Minnesota Vikings through
by a wide margin,
11 games, had a minus 10.9 DVOA. That at the time ranked 22nd in the league. They were 9-2. What happened to them? They finished 13-4. They ended up finishing 28th in DVOA. One and done, lost in the wild card round.
To the Giants.
Yeah.
Daniel
Jones.
31-24.
So they were, DVOA had them as a fraud team during the year. They immediately got in the playoffs and were proven to be a fraud. Second worst is you, minus 2.8. We don't know what it can become of you, but that currently ranks 17th in the NFL. Third, the 2014 Arizona Cardinals had a plus 4.9 DVOA. That was 14th in the league at the time. They wound up finishing 11-5 on the year. They ended up ranking 20th in DVOA. One and done, lost in the wild card round. DVOA said they were a fraudulent regular season team. They got in the postseason and were immediately proven to be a fraud. Fourth worst, Chicago, 2001. They ranked 11th overall in DVOA, 6.1%. They finished 13-3. Ended up finishing 8th in DVOA, lost in the divisional round. Maybe they had a bye. I could go back and look whether that was one and done for them or not, but either way, they didn't even get to a conference title game. 2001 Chicago Bears that wasn't even Rex Grossman. Who was
before that?
Oh, jeez.
Says Miller.
Oh,
Jim Miller.
Jim Miller.
Jim Miller.
He wasn't that bad.
He ended up with the Patriots as a third quarterback later in his career.
And
they were a 2 seed that year. They had a bye.
So one and done. Thank you, Mary. Very good. Didn't even win a playoff game. So I'll stop there. The top 4 worst teams by DVOA. You're the 4th. 3 of those other 4 didn't even win a playoff game. DVOA said they were a fraud during the year. They ended up being a fraud. Paul, your thoughts?
Yeah, again.
Who are they going to lose to wild card weekend, Paul?
And there are, I'm just going to look at that Minnesota team because that's the most recent one. And I remember them winning a bunch of games sort of late and fluky. And
crazy game in Buffalo. Remember
that? They weren't. When you watched them play, you looked and you say, this isn't a 13-4 team. But there they were. I don't, again, watch the games. I don't look at them. I don't look at the Patriots games the same way. I see a team that's pretty balanced, offensive and defensive. I don't think they're great on either side of the ball, but I think they're pretty good on both sides of the ball. I don't look at them every game. I haven't seen the Patriots having to frantically come from behind in the fourth quarter. If you want to ask me, kind of things that I worry about, is they've been able to play almost every game on their terms. They've had the lead at the half virtually every week. Do you know they've trailed by 2 scores in a game twice this year?
Let me guess, they lost them both.
Yeah, they're 0-2 in those 2 games. They were down 10 to the Raiders. They were down 14 to the Steelers. And those are the only 2 times they were ever down 2 scores in a game. So if you're asking me, Paul, find something to worry about, which you know that I tend to do, that would be it. Can they play these games in a different way? Can they win in a different manner? But I don't look at them like I did that Minnesota team. They haven't had a lot of fluky wins.
Let me just give you the rest of this list real quick. Okay,
Sure.
Teams that had the worst 9-2 teams according to DVOA. So they had to be 9-2, and they're the worst DVOAs. I stopped with the 2001 Bears. Next on the list, I guess this would be 5th was the 2000 Minnesota Vikings. They lost in the conference title game.
No, they got destroyed by the Giants.
Is that what that? How do you remember these years like this? Murray?
It's
pretty good.
Weird how
that is weird.
That was the conference championship?
Yeah, they lost
like 41-7.
something like that, yeah.
He's a football savant on stuff like this. I'm serious.
The 2013 Kansas City Chiefs lost.
Sounds like an Alex Smith team.
I think that's Alex Smith, probably.
I think that's the year they lose to the Titans at home with Mariota.
Lost in the wild card round, one and done. Amazing, Murray.
I'm telling you, he's like
This is
Rain Man.
unbelievable.
By the way, don't
Judge
check
Watner's
these.
on at 5. What'd you say, Paul?
I said don't check any of these.
2004 Atlanta Falcons. lost in the conference championship game.
They went to Green Bay, won in Green Bay.
That's a Michael Vick team. Yeah.
They lose to the Eagles in Philly.
The 89 Denver Broncos lost the Super Bowl. The 99 Tennessee Titans lost the Super Bowl. So now we're getting into here's the bottom 5. 89 Broncos, 99 Titans, 83 Cowboys, 2003 Patriots,
Who won the Super Bowl?
2000 Oakland Raiders. Okay, so the 89 Broncos lost the Super Bowl. The 99 Titans lost the Super Bowl. Dallas in 83 lost their wild card game. The Patriots in 03 won the Super Bowl. And Oakland in 2000 lost the conference title game.
I just want to go back to that Kansas City team you mentioned, 13. They were up big in Indianapolis. Crazy comeback by the Colts. They lose 45-44.
Okay, so it wasn't the
Mariota game.
Either way,
that's why I said don't check it.
only one of these teams won the Super Bowl, but they all made the playoffs. Some made Super Bowls. Some made conference title games. Some were proven to be complete frauds. Okay? Where are you on this list? I will just say this parenthetically about the 03 Patriots. Remember, this is the worst teams by DVOA through 9 games. I went back and looked this up. Their win over the Colts that year, the famous 38-35, William McGinnis fake injury, goal line stand, that whole game, was in week 12 or 13. It was after week. They were, that game was still on their schedule.
So it wasn't on their resume yet.
That Patriots team actually finished 4th in DVOA. So by the end of the year.
Oh, so that's a big qualifier.
Their schedule toughened. They were battle tested. Their schedule wasn't easy. I guess their schedule was front-loaded with easy teams. So that's a little misleading because through 9 games, they had a relatively low DVOA, but by the end of the year, they were top 4 in the league in DVOA.
You mean 11 games, actually, right?
11 games, right. That's what I meant. Yeah. So, but either way.
But this year's Pats team, those other ones you rattled off, they're lumped with the frauds.
They're lumped with the frauds. I mean, their DVO is so low that they're with these teams that lost their first playoff game.
But like that 03 team, I think that you might think differently, and my guess is that number will change in a couple of weeks when they play Buffalo and Baltimore back-to-back. I think they have an opportunity to show people that they're not fool's gold.
Unless they lose.
Well, sure, but
Mazz immediately bubbled up and started smirking when you started. He was so ready to deliver that line.
It depends on the result.
Which is why I said they'll have an opportunity to change that number. I didn't say that number will change when they beat those teams.
He got so excited.
It's amazing.
No, listen, I
heard him without you the other day.
I'm not joking about this. I have a unique ability to identify the worst case scenario. I'm serious. I always say, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then I go from there. So I'm very good at it. I kind of live my life that way.
I just think, Paul, even though their schedule's been easy, I think they've been tested. Not just that Buffalo game, but some of the games they've pulled out, they've had to make plays late, offensively and defensively. You talked about this. The defense has come through every time they've needed to come through.
Especially defensively, yes. But I think that's part of what's hurting the DVOA.
Yeah.
Because some of those games are against New Orleans, Atlanta.
Right.
Some bad teams they've had to do that against.
All I'm saying is I'm okay with them in the clutch. I'm confident that May's going to be good with the game's on the line. I am. I think the roster still has holes. That would be the bigger issue for me than their ability to beat a good team in a tough spot.
Yeah, that would worry me more as well. I'm with you on that, Mike. And I would say with May, I also share your confidence that what I've seen from him, we haven't had to see the comebacks. And that's the number that everybody sort of identifies. Late game comebacks, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't had those opportunities. But he has had, we talk a lot about the early struggles of the defense. So he's gone onto the field down 7-0 a lot and almost immediately responded. That's right. And I know that's not the same in the first quarter it is the fourth quarter, but I think he has shown the ability after a bad drive to immediately respond with a good drive. And there are sneaky big moments in games that he has generally been successful in. And I agree with you, Mike. We haven't had the comebacks. We haven't had the sheer opportunities to see some data when they're behind late in the game. But I don't really have a fear that he won't be able to handle those based on what I have seen in what I would call big spots elsewhere in the game.
I'm with you.